Hi, hello, welcome to Cafe Snacks, the 10 questions that covers current happenings from UPSC perspective. It is online and this is Shyam here. Now let us move on to the first question. Now friends, before moving to the first question, I need to inform you that yesterday while discussing EPI, that is Environmental Protection Index, that is how I pronounced it. But that is wrong. It is Environmental Performance Index. It is performance. Please do take a note and we will never try to repeat such mistakes again. And thank you for your valuable comments and feedbacks. Let us move on to the first question. So the question talks about Article 370 related to Jammu and Kashmir. Now Jammu and Kashmir is a union territory. Jammu and Kashmir state has been divided into two union territories. I think all of you are familiar with that fact. Now, the thing is that why this particular news and why this particular question? Now, the thing is that there is an article in the Hindu saying in Kashmir still a long way to go. That is the title of the article and it comes under GS paper 2 polity and governance. And in prelims it is an happening of national importance. Now the theme is scraping of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution and the context is that the article has been written in the backdrop of scraping of Article 370. Now the thing is that he is speaking about many such aspects of Article 370 and the article is a very fine one. I hope that you will go back and read the particular article. But here, now we are just discussing about Article 370 because that is what is our concern. Now look the question. Under the Article 370, which is scrapped now, Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution and laws passed by the parliament will not be applicable to the state unless the state government gives its concurrence. And that is a statement and you get lot of information from that statement about Article 370. Now look the first statement and the second one and you need to select which of them are correct. The statement A, the Constitution, Application to Jammu and Kashmir, Order 1954, lists the articles and provisions that apply to J and K. Further, the President also listed a set of exceptions under Article 35A of the Constitution. This article does not figure in the text of the Constitution of India but figures only in the J and K's Constitution. Now the second statement, these special measures can be altered only on the recommendation of the Sadr-i-Riyat or Sadr-i-Riyat of Jammu and Kashmir, acting on the advice of the Council of Ministers or by the Constituent Assembly of that state. As of now, there is no Constituent Assembly. Now, which of the following statements are correct? My friends, both of the statements are correct because I want you to get maximum facts from these two statements regarding Article 370 and scrapping and also Article 35A. And you should remember that Article 35A was a part of J&K's constitution and it was not a part of Indian constitution and it is no longer valid. And also remember Sadr-i-Riyat is the head of the state according to Jammu and Kashmir constitution and that too is irrelevant now. So moving on to the next question. The next question is, given below, which is the characteristics of liberal democracy? Now why this particular question? It is because of a particular news article in Hindu which talks about a new democracy. And it becomes a part of GS paper 2, polity and governance again. And the theme is the fallouts of present democratic practice and changing form of democracy. The context is that now democracy that is being practiced in major parts of the world are not fair and they are not multi-party competitive type of democracy which a liberal democracy envisage. But the problems are much more severe than we think. And that is why this article is relevant and hope that you will go and read the article because it is a good tool in your arsenal for writing the mains examination. So let us look into the options. A, competitive multi-party system. B, free and unfair elections. C, non-constitutionalism. D. Fundamental duties. These types of questions are usually asked from NCRT, so do check NCRT also. Now, the answer is A. Competitive multi-party system. Because in a liberal democracy, everything need to be fair and not unfair. So B is wrong, and non-constitutionalism is not permitted in a liberal democracy. Constitutionalism means rule of law, and rule of law keeps a cap on the power of the government and ensures fundamental rights to the citizens, and it is not fundamental duties. So I hope that you got the answer. Now let us move on to the next question. Now there is a statement given: the Supreme Court has allowed telecom companies 10 years time to pay their adjusted gross revenue or AGR dues to the government. Which of the following statements is correct? A. The telecom operators would make the payment of 10% of the total dues as demanded by the Department of Telecom by March 31, 2021. The yearly installments would commence from April 1, 2021 up to March 31, 2031. The installments would be paid by March 31 every year. B. Telecom operators are required to pay license fee and spectrum charges in the form of revenue share to the government. The revenue amount used to calculate the revenue share is known as AGR. C. The definition of AGR has been a long-standing issue between the Department of Telecom and the telecom service providers. D. A committee of secretaries headed by Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba is studying ways in which telecom industry penalty can be solved out. Now, which among the following statements are correct? 1. A and B. 2. B only. 3. A and D. 4. A, B, C and D. Now friends, as I said, I want you to get maximum information from this question. So what I have did is that all the 4 statements are right. So you get maximum information about AGR and relevant facts so that you can easily get an idea about what the Supreme Court aims by giving a penalty to the telecom companies. Now the thing is that the telecom operators, they need to pay certain amount for their license and also the use of spectrum. And that amount was pending. So the Supreme Court ordered them in 2019, just within 3 months you need to pay them back. But because of the corona distress, because of the economic distress, the Supreme Court have heard the petition of the telecom operators, and the Supreme Court has ordered that within 10 months you need to pay back the license fees and also the spectrum charges. And that is the reason why the telecom operators would make the payment by 31st March 2021 about 10%, and later for the next 10 years starting from April 1 and ending on March 31 of 2031. So that's it. And you need to know what is AGR. AGR is the amount that is calculated with respect to revenue share, which the telecom operators are required to pay license fee and the spectrum charges, or as the license fee and the spectrum charges. So do remember that. Look very careful in the second statement. And C is just a mediocre statement and you will easily get the statement. And D is very important because the committee of secretaries that is doing the duty of studying this particular issue is headed by Rajiv Gauba. That too need to be remembered. So it is known as Rajiv Gauba Committee. And let us move on to the next question. Which of the following countries are part of Quad grouping? Now, before understanding which of the countries are part of Quad grouping, you need to understand what Quad is. Now, Quad is an informal dialogue mechanism among India, USA, Japan and Australia. The first Quad meeting was held in 2007, but later years it was not as successful as expected, but it got revived in 2017 because it had a potential and it could act as a regional counterweight to China. That is the reason why it was revived, and from 2019 ministerial meetings have been happening. The thing is that to remember is that Quad doesn't issue joint statement, or there is no broader consensus among the 4 nations. So that is the reason why It is an informal dialogue. So I hope that you got the answer by now. Because Quad involves Australia, USA, Japan, and India. So there is no Netherlands. So the answer is A, B, and D, that is 4. So let us move on to the next question. Which of the following is correct about the Election Commission of India? A. It is an autonomous constitutional authority responsible for administering union and state election process in India. B. It administers elections to the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies and councils in India, and the offices of the President and Vice President in the country. C. Article 3 to 5 deals superintendence, direction, and control of elections to be vested in an election commission. D. They have a fixed tenure of 5 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. And they enjoy the same status and receive salary and perks as available to judges of the Supreme Court of India. Now, which among the following 4 is the right answer? Now, first thing you need to understand is that what is our election commission and what is the power of our election commission. Our election commission is really a powerful body. Why? Because it constitutes or it is comprised of an election commissioner and 2 election commissioners. The election commissioner can only be thrown out of his office or can be impeached only by following the procedure for impeachment of a Supreme Court judge by the Parliament. And the other 2 election commissioners are impeached by the President on the direction of Chief Election Commissioner. And Chief Election Commissioner is a constitutional body, and that is the reason why it is very powerful. And Article 324 speaks about the superintendence and the direction and control of election by the Chief Election Commission. So you know that C is wrong because it is Article 324 which speaks about the power of Election Commission. Now, what about A? It is an autonomous constitutional authority responsible for administering union and state election process in India. Obviously, you know that it is the right answer. And if you know just one statement, you get this particular question as right. So what is wrong with B and D? B, it administers elections to the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies and councils in India. That is wrong because there is no duty of administering legislative council election. It is only legislative assembly. So it is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and state legislative assemblies and the offices of President and Vice President of India. There is no state legislative council election under the purview of National Election Commission. Now what about D? The fixed tenure is not for 5 years, it is for 6 years or up to the age of 65 years. And they enjoy the same status and the salary as that of the judge of the Supreme Court of India. That is right. So let us move on to the next question. India and which country are scheduled to hold the bilateral naval exercise Indra 2020 in the Andaman Sea, close to the strategic Strait of Malacca? And most of you will be knowing that Malacca is an important geographical point, or it's an important geographical choke point. Why? Because most of the oil transport globally is done through the Strait of Malacca. And there is a huge Chinese influence in that particular part of the sea, which the other powers are together trying to overweigh. So, what is Indra 2020 and with whom it has been done? Before that, let me tell you, India has conducted PASEX. Now what is PASEX? It is PASSEX, PASEX. And with whom has India conducted PASEX? PASEX was with America, USA. In June, Indian Navy conducted a passage exercise, that is PASEX, with US aircraft carrier USS Nimitz strike group in the same point or near the same point. You can say that. So Indra 2020 is planned to be conducted with Russia. The answer is Russia and the other 3 are wrong. And let us move on to the next question. The Brasilia Declaration countries plans to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 3.6. Which of the words define Brasilia Declaration? A. Fire incidents. B. Road safety. C. Amazon rainforest conservation. D. Pollution control. Now, which do you think the answer is? Now, Brasilia Declaration is associated with Sustainable Development Goal 3 and its subclause 6 or the subpart 6. Now, what does 3 deals with? 3 deals with health, good health. And the clause 6 is about road accidents and road safety. So B is the right answer. And you need to understand that Brasilia Declaration is the second best, or it's the second global high conference that is being held on road safety, and it has been conducted, or it had been conducted in 2015 by the Brazil government in November. Now it is like a call for a sustainable method or sustainable modes of transports like walking, cycling, etc. So it also promotes sustainable usage of transportation and to reduce road accidents by half. And remember that for UN had declared 2011 to 2020 as the decade of road safety. It is a decade of road safety that need to be remembered. Now let us move on to the next question. Now consider the following questions. Sorry, it is written question 1. It is not question 1, as you all know. So let us move to the statements and identify which of them is associated or comes under the responsibility of National Crime Records Bureau. Now, before moving on to the association with Crime Records Bureau, you need to understand what is NCRB. Now, NCRB was set up in 1986 by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, NCRB is like a repository of information on crime and criminals, and it helps in investigations and understanding the crime and also finding the perpetrators. Now, in the responsibilities of NCRB, it includes monitoring and coordinating and implementing and understanding crime and criminal tracking network and systems, the project, that is CCTNS. And that is a particular project of NCRB. Now it connects about 15,000 police stations and other stakeholders. And NCRB also maintains NDSO, that is National Database of Sexual Offenders. Now what about 1? Crime and Criminal Tracking Network and Systems. Yes, that is the project CCTNS. So 1 is associated with NCRB. What about 2? Online Cyber Crime Reporting Portal. Now NCRB maintains a portal, that is Online Cyber Crime Reporting Portal, for lodging complaint regarding pornography, child pornography, rape, gang rape, etc. And what about 3? National Cybercrime Training Center. This National Cybercrime Training Center is also known as CyTrain. Yes, it is a part of NCRB. It is for training various stakeholders in cybercrime investigations and prosecution. What about 4? Counterfeit Currency Information and Management System. Yes, that is also a part of NCRB. And NCRB has launched CRIMAC. Now, CRIMAC is a portal, or it's less like an agency for sharing of information on crime, criminals, etc. And above all, you need to understand that NCRB also maintain a national repository of fingerprints, that is a Central Fingerprint Bureau functions under NCRB. And NCRB compiles and publishes national crime statistics. That too need to be remembered. So the thing is that all 5, that is D is the right answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 5 is part of NCRB. Let us move on to the next question. In the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, which one of the following is given the highest weight? Now, why this kind of questions? Now, the thing is that this becomes a part of GS paper 3, that is economy. It is very much important, and you need to understand about Purchasing Managers Index and Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. This type of question is usually asked. For example, in 2015, there was a question regarding core industry or the core industrial index. and what is the weightage of that particular index. Now, this is a similar kind of question. What about the purchasing index and all other kind of index which you need to be remember, and this is a part of such kind of an index. So, manufacturing purchasing managers index, it calculates or it understands manufacturing activity, and this particular index has shown that India is improving in India has recorded an improvement in growth territory in manufacturing in August, and that is why this particular question is here. Now, what is PMI? It is a survey-based economic indicator designed to provide a timely insight into business conditions. That means what is the business situation in the nation, what is the economic performance of the nation. All this is being understood by measuring this PMI. That is a survey-based economic indicator called PMI. Now, using PMI, you can understand what is the trend in the GDP, what is the economic trends. Other than by using GDP too, you can calculate this, and you can also understand the GDP by this. And it is also an alternative measure to official data about economic performance. And remember that PMI is compiled and produced globally by IHS Markit. IHS is in capital and Markit, MARKIT, for more than 40 economies worldwide, and that thing need to be remembered. Now, what about manufacturing purchasing managers index? It too is survey based economic indicator that gives us an insight in the changing business condition in the goods producing sector, that is in the manufacturing sector. Now, this particular manufacturing PMI has 5 indices based on which the manufacturing PMI is calculated. And these 5 indices include new orders, output, employment, 4 suppliers, delivery items, and there is a 5th one, that is inventories of goods purchases. So, inventories of goods purchases is here, employment is here, output is here, new orders is here, except suppliers, delivery time, all other 4 are here. And you need to understand that only when there is new orders, the manufacturing purchasing managers index rise. That means a new orders is given the highest weight. Let us move on to the next question. The Allocation Committee recently seen in news is related to A. Committee to recommend measures for the revival of micro, small and medium enterprises in service sector. B. Committee to suggest measures to curb cybercrimes in India. C. Committee of experts to deliberate on non-personal data governance framework. D. Committee to review the welfare of particularly vulnerable tribal groups in India. Now, all these comes under GS paper 2 because there is a lot of details regarding policies and governance under that particular syllabus of GS paper 2. And the answer here is C. Committee of experts to deliberate on non-personal data governance framework. So, what is non-personal data? Non-personal data is a data that is linked or that doesn't identify, that is linked not to a person or that doesn't identify a person as such. So, that is non-personal data. So, a particular article is there in Hindu. For the last 24 hours, if you check, you can find the particular article, and the article speaks about the need to get non-personal data to all and sundry so that everybody can develop, everybody can have an economic value for non-personal data which is not of security or other conditions applied to them, or there is no security or other conditions applied to them. So in that way, everybody can develop, especially like certain industries like IT and manufacturing sectors. So you need to understand that this particular committee is also known as Allocation Committee. Now, understanding the Allocation Committee will be of great use. So go and read about what is Allocation Committee, and also read about SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now, Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting is going to be held in Russia. You need to understand what is its main goal, when was it started, who are the members. The members are Kazakhstan, China, the Kyrgyz Republic, the Russian Federation, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. And also, you need to understand when India and Pakistan joined. India and Pakistan joined in 2017, and this particular SCO is very important because it is a rare institution in which both India and Pakistan are members. And also you need to understand SCO heads of the government council, because that is the highest council or the highest authority of SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And also you need to understand that the official languages are in Russian and Chinese. There is two permanent body. One is the SCO Secretariat in Beijing, and another is the Executive Committee of the Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure RATS in Tashkent. And you need to understand that there are 4 observer states for SCO. That is Afghanistan, Belarus, Iran, and Mongolia. And there is 6 dialogue partners, including Sri Lanka, Nepal. So, do read the newspapers, do understand this one. So, just listen as if you are listening to a podcast and try to understand what I am saying. And also, do read the questions and try to repeat the questions and memorize the question. That will be of great use. So, see you tomorrow. Thank you.